Dave?
Yeah, absolutely sensational. We'll put on the platters next week, so it's something in my era.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, it's time for our next guest, a man who, he's had a great week, really, great couple of weeks. He is the president of the Rosewater Football Club. We call him JR, the great man John Reardon. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much.
Now, we've got Chad Burt coming up, so we're not going to go over all the Div 5 results, but last week, needless to say, it was a huge day for the club. Rosewater 14-12-96, Westminster Old Collegians 12-10-82, a 14-point win, first win of the year, and also coincided with the opening of the, I think it's $3.2 million clubroom upgrade.
No.
That'd be 2.5.
2.5. Tell us about the day and the clubrooms, and tell us anything you want to tell us about Rosewater and what kind of day it was on Saturday.
It was a fantastic day. We had the reunion of the 1972 A2 Premiership. We had people came from all over Australia. We had Jack Staker, who's the All-Australian captain, was the captain coach of that side, and Donnie Williams, Spider Watkins, Danny Clark, Terry Longbottom, all came to that day. We had about 19 of the side there, so it was a fantastic day, and it's probably in the 40 years I've been there, it'd be the biggest day that I've ever been involved in at Rosewater.
Sell a few sausages and a bit of sponsors product?
We sold a few sausages and
A lot of sponsors product.
And a few frothies, and to take nearly $25,000
Whoa.
for the day, we were more than happy.
And I guess under trying circumstances throughout the year, obviously I did grassroots down there a couple of weeks ago before coinciding with the opening. Working out of a shipping container it presented so many challenges and issues for the club. It must be just a huge burden and relief off your shoulders now to know you can move forward. And I mean, even though you go into Div 6, to be excited about what's in store for the Rosewater Bulldogs.
We would have been happy if we could have hung on to Div 5, but that wasn't to be the case, and we probably underestimated a little bit the effect that we trained out of two shipping containers all year. One was the medical room and one was the change rooms, and I take my hat off to the players that stayed with us, and also to the training staff, Laurie Marshall and co, that stayed with us, but we lost a few players retired. A few players went to the country, and a few players thought it was a little bit too hard, but they said they'd come back next year. But I'm not sure.
Looks promising.
I'm not sure they'd be welcome back.
It looks pretty promising. I mean, you've got a coach, Horsell, has been doing a fantastic job. Yeah, I know that the conditions you had this year, you would have to say that, all right, you won the one game, but at the end of the day, it's a bit of a rebuild now for the club. Stage one is done, the club rooms. Next one will be the players and what have you, I guess.
Yeah, we reappointed Brad during the week. One of the reasons, not the main reason, one, he's a good coach, he's a good person, and he's also someone that stuck at it and didn't have a grizzle to me the whole year about the conditions that he had to work with. And I thought that not only because of his coaching ability, but also, it would have been cruel to have taken that job away from him and given him a run. And, if the people saw grassroots footy during the week, to see the change rooms and the club rooms and the gym that we've built for the players, we had to give him a decent run at it.
Well, I saw in the footy budget, there's a few photographs we've got in the footy budget. There's change rooms with the outgoes for each player. Obviously, you'll be putting names of milestones and players' numbers and what have you that goes through. The kitchen looks state of the art from what I can see, and canteen. But inside the bar, the whole lot. Gee, you really yourself, Charlie, Keith, and Tyson really have to take a lot of credit for all this work.
I think the fact that we had. Charlie is fantastic for writing, for putting in the submissions for the grants. I used to have a look at the grant submissions after it finished, and I just think, Charlie, what club are you talking about here? He was that good at it. And we had Tyson, who's the club captain, Tyson Jackweir. His father was a champion of the club, won 5 medals.
Yes.
He's also an architect. And so that was the best leg up that we could have had, is to have a present day player and an architect to design the club rooms and
get it exactly the way you want it.
That's right. You know, we had ice bath. There's ice baths in there now, and I even saw during the week where Port Adelaide Magpies are trying to raise some money to get some ice baths in their club rooms. Well, we're effectively
ahead of them.
Yeah, ahead of them if you like. But I'd said to Tyson in my day, I know what those ice baths would have been filled with.
Yeah.
Ice and beer.
Yeah, nice cold beer.
Dave, interesting, you mentioned the state-of-the-art kitchen. Correct me if I'm wrong, did you tell me that you had a dishwasher that does a cycle in 25 seconds or something?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so,
see, my last dishwasher, she'd take 30 minutes, so I got rid of her.
But there was ulterior motives behind the way she...
No, but, I mean, everything, Dave, is state-of-the-art. All the way down to the ice bars, and, you know, this is what the modern-day footballer needs. You know, you go in, you get hurt, you get hit hard, but you've got to recover properly to be right for the next week. So there's no stone, even everything down to the change rooms, the individual cubicles, the little plaques on the wall. It couldn't have been done much better, mate.
Yeah, well, the plaques, we went through the history. We've been around since 1885. We've got records that go back that far. And the plaques on the wall, we decided to dedicate them. We had to cut them back a bit, otherwise there's not enough lockers in Australia to put everyone's name on it, so we cut it back to players that have played 200 games, players that have won a medal, players that have captained and or coached a premiership side, and their names are on the lockers alongside of them, and there was still a fair few that
missed out.
Oh, there's a lot of players that missed out. You know, unfortunately, my 99 games didn't cut it, but. You know, I tried hard to get my name on it somewhere, but I couldn't come up with anything.
I guess two of my old mates, Paul and Mick Clements, we were talking before we came on air, that Paul and Mick came back to the club just recently for a reunion day, which was last Saturday. You won the game. Now, tell me if I'm wrong, there was a bigger crowd in all your years you've ever seen at Rosewater Footy Club?
It was the biggest crowd. I've been there since 1972. That's the biggest crowd I've ever seen.
1,000 people?
Oh, I'd be unsure. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the figure. They looked down. We had the Premier of South Australia, who has for the last 5 years been our #1 ticket holder. He was there with his family.
Jay Weatherall?
The Honourable Jay
I'm not
Weatherall.
good with political stuff.
He was there, and you know, and he just wanders around the crowd, and you know that's his club, you know, at Rosewater. So it's fantastic that he can come down there and just wander around with his kids and watch the footy. But yeah, it was a huge crowd, huge.
Any of those old past players, sons come through and play as well?
Yeah, certainly. I mentioned one, Tyson Jackery.
Tyson skipper.
Tyson Jackery, the captain. We've got Sean and Scott Jacobson, whose father Charlie was a past player there and a premiership player.
Sean's played 200 games now, hasn't he? Or was it last year he played his 200?
No, I don't think Sean's played 200. Last week, Scott played his 100th.
Okay.
Scott's 21. And Shane Hollett's father Malcolm played in the 70s with myself. My son plays there now. And we've had various other, but the present day players are those guys there that have had their fathers that play.
Tell me, has there been a couple of Rumbelows come through and play as well? Sons of Charlie?
No, there's only been one, Adam Rumbelow.
Yeah.
Adam's played over 200 games and also a fine contributor off the field. You know, he does a lot of stuff off the field, Adam, and always has been. When he was probably in his early 20s, he was coaching the under. In fact, he coached my son, and now they play in the same team together. He coached my son in under 9s. And now they're...
Must be in the name, Rumbelow, that they've got to get involved, and I know Charlie has done an enormous amount of work with the club over the years, you know, and still continues to do it.
Yeah, Charlie's still there. He was there last night, and we enjoyed a few... Charlie and I, this is about our 5th opening of the new club rooms. We had a few frothies, and yeah, Charlie does a lot of work.
Does he go to game days?
He does, and he does the Rosewater newsletter.
Yep.
So he does that every week, and you know it's a good newsletter. And I get a lot of people of the old Rosewater fame, like Bucky Cunningham and Kimmy Kinnear and all that. They get their newsletter via email, and they enjoy reading it.
That's good. It's still keeping them involved. The new next president of Port Power.
A couple of other fantastic features. Is it sorry if I get the name, is it the John Dobson Memorial Board? Is that the name of the big board?
Yeah, John Dobson was he was a member of the 1972 Premiership side, and unfortunately, not long after the 1972 Premiership, he was killed in a car accident at Rosewater, and they named the Premiership. They named the honour board after him. So he was I think he was about 23 when he was killed on Addison Road and Grand Junction Road, but I never got the chance to meet John, but I certainly know a lot of his mates, and they rave about it, and they just said how good a guy he was. And I think so when we redid the club rooms, there was no chance that we were ever going to change any of the names. That we had the Robin start for you. He was a secretary, and for 18 years he was a player, and he was hard. No one left Rosewater when he was secretary, because you had to go and ask him for the clearance.
Yeah.
And you didn't.
It was easier to stay.
Obviously, JR, a very exciting times for the club. It's going to be a huge 2013. I wouldn't surprise me to see you bounce straight back up into Division 5 with a bit of luck.
Well, we hope that's the case, and we're certainly striving towards that. We've had a lot of interest from, strange enough, we've even had like 4 trainers that have said they'd like to come to Rosewater.
I bet they would. I saw that trainers room.
And we all know if you're involved with football, trainers, they're harder to get than centre half forwards. So, so we're happy for that, and we've had a lot of interest from. I saw, straight after the game, players, teams that had played away actually called into the football club on their way back to their respective clubs, local clubs, and had a look, and they were blown away by the change rooms, and a lot of interest from, say, B grade players in higher grades, like the A1s and A2s, have already contacted us and said we want to come down. So
things are looking promising for next year.
Oh yeah, they'll be fantastic, and I intend to stay there until we get back up where we belong.
It was interesting. I was saying to you outside. Basically, it's in stages. Stage 1 is now get the club rooms and everything in order. Stage 2 is now going to get the results out on the ground.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I think I said it before. Brad Horsell is the man to take us into that next era, and we're happy.
Everything's looking really good for you.
Exciting times indeed, Russell. David, sorry. Look, JR, it's been great having you on the show. Is there anyone you'd like to send a shout out to, or thank you, or you're not playing today, so? Well,
there's one guy, and he rang me, and his name's Charlie Cawthorne. He won the Hone Medal in 1972. He tied with Greg Fenny from Seaton, and he was awarded it retrospectively. He's in hospital at the moment and having a heart replacement, heart valve replacement. And I'd like to say a cheerio to Charlie, because he's a fantastic club man, and he's a big man. And I always joke that he single-handedly kept that kitchen up and running. when you chew through a tray of pasties every Saturday.
Yeah. Isn't it hard to come by people like that in a club this day and age? Everyone's putting their hand out wanting to take, but they don't want to give. So
yeah, I must say I've tired of a lot of players that and probably coaches that come around with a troop of people and they empty the club's bank account out and then they go to the next club.
Yep, we know of many of them around there.
It's not going to happen at Rosewater, I can tell you.
No, too right. Thanks for being on the show, JR, and great. Best of luck in 2013.
Thanks very much for having me.
Thanks, Mark.